What's going on, guys? So it's been a while since I made an actual video about anything, so I thought I'd show off my rebuild of my computer. I made a video a long time ago about this build, and it was like basically just slapped together in an old case to make it look ghetto, or it was pretty ghetto anyway. But it was just basically just to have the system built and then just use it. But I got kind of sick of that look, and I don't know, it looked messy and didn't really fit with the rest of the theme of what I wanted to do with our apartment. So I changed the case around and redid the water cooling and everything, and it looks quite nice. Sadly, I couldn't upgrade it because, you know, no GPUs around at the moment, and if I can't upgrade the GPU, then I'm not going to bother upgrading the CPU or anything as well, just because the 6700K gets me by pretty well. So yeah, it's all eBay stuff. This is all like Chinese reproduction of older water cooling stuff that was probably around about 2005, I think. I'll have to put that in the description, but this is an old sort of reproduction of, I believe, one called the T-Virus, this water reservoir. I ordered a UV tube for it, but they sent me the white, which actually ended up working better because the rest of the case is all white. Still got the same. Actually no, I upgraded this pump after the video. So I used to have an old Thermaltake pump which was really loud and ugly. I replaced it with an EK D5 sort of deal. All the fans are just Cool Moon, I think, which is just a eBay AliExpress brand. All the fittings are from eBay. With the fittings, actually, I didn't leak test this or anything before I put it together. What I did, what I haven't seen anyone else really do, was use plumbing tape on the threads for all the fittings, and it worked out quite well. That nothing leaked. Nothing's leaked yet either. So I'm going to redo the LED that's in the side of the block here, because it's an orange one. I want to change it out for probably like an RGB or just white or something. Yeah, so this is the all-in-one cooler I've got. It's a Dark Flash one, also just like a AliExpress brand, and there's the ARGB fans it comes with. I didn't go with a full custom loop for the CPU just because this is soft tubing, and I don't think I could have made it look nice going up to the CPU, so I just slapped one of these guys on it, and the white piping looks cool. I got here again off eBay, this right angle adapter for the 24-pin power cable, which I'm glad I got because otherwise this would have looked extra messy. Same board as before, it's just a Z170X M3GB board. The all-in-one is actually sort of, it's not even screwed in really, it's got zip ties on it because I can't get it to go all the way in because it hits the RAM. It even hits the Corsair RAM behind there. So it's sort of just sitting on top of the heat sinks for the other sticks of RAM, which someone will probably get upset at me about, but it's my computer. Yeah, those heat sinks are from eBay as well, same brand as the other fans. So if you want to see how this is mounted in, it's probably going to upset some people that are elitists about building computers, but just some zip ties in there, and it's got a piece of foam up here, sort of stopping it falling in. Doesn't affect the function or anything, and then you can kind of see in there all the wiring and stuff. The case is from eBay as well. It's a Phoenix or something. Pretty neat. Has this ARGB sort of front panel piece. All the fans are ARGB, and it's just using a little cheap RF controller. And the front comes off like that, which is pretty handy. Now the radiator wouldn't have fit in this section here unless I mounted it upside down maybe and took out that metal bracket, which I didn't want to do. As you can see, it's quite a tight fit because the output of the radiator goes through there, goes through some hardware store tubing, an L bracket, and into the pump. And I'm still bleeding the pump, and it's been a bit difficult just because it's hard to bleed all the air out of it because it's all sort of sideways. Before I show you the other side, I'll just show you this piece here as well, because all the RGB fans are controlled with a remote. Because all the RGB fans are controlled with a remote, this little light in here is pretty bright, especially at night. So what I did was I just on eBay and ordered just a simple, like a flip-flop MOSFET kind of PCB. It's only tiny, it's only about that big. And I just broke it down onto a piece of prototyping board, and then I wired it up to the existing LED control button thing from the case, because the case originally came with a small RGB controller and you could press the button to switch through all the colors, and didn't have enough connections for what I wanted, so I got rid of it. And the little PCB I bought basically acts as like a toggle switch for things. Basically, you use a momentary button to control a MOSFET on or off, and then yeah, basically makes the light work. That way I didn't have to do any external switches or anything silly like that. Alright, I'm going to take the back side off and we can have a look. So this is the back of the cheap eBay case, and here is the little circuit board I was talking about just before to control the inverter board for that cold cathode tube. And I've actually got a ARGB power supply as well. It's fully modular, but I ended up having to use nearly all the cables anyway for it, because the pump uses an old 4-pin Molex cable, but the RGB hub here uses an extra SATA cable, and I didn't have enough on one run, so I had to run all the cables for it. Cable management's pretty messy, so sorry if that upsets people. This is the original fan splitter that came with the CPU cooler, but I've just repurposed it to run all the front fans, and then the CPU fans are all run off the motherboard directly, and then that goes to the board, so everything's nice and quiet because they're too loud with them running. What else is interesting in here? So I got these chrome right angle brackets off eBay, and unfortunately I didn't have enough. So what I did was I just went to the hardware store and I picked up some of these. This is all from the plumbing gardening section for like water fountains and stuff. Just a 10mm tube, and then the right angle adapters for it as well. And that's actually been pretty good. They don't leak or anything. And I also used the plumbing tape on these as well. Yeah, like I said, I didn't sort of leak test it or anything. I thought it would probably be alright. It was. In here is an interesting story. It's hard to see, but I've got two 4TB Seagate Barracuda hard drives and one 2TB Western Digital Green. And this case is like a toolless system, little sleds for the hard drives to go on. It only fits 2 hard drives. So what I did was I used some leftover brackets from the reservoir and made up a little 3 hard drive little house for them to sit in. I checked the temps and everything, and the drives are fine. They're all under, I think they're all under 40 degrees, and the middle one's just a little bit higher than the other two, but nothing's getting too hot. The actual hottest drive in the system is the NVMe drive, which is on the other side. Probably saw it before. That's another new thing that I've added since the last video. Again, some more L brackets, or I guess you call L right angle joiners or whatever. It goes up in here, that goes into the pump, and the other one snakes up under here and goes directly into the water block. Here's the cheap, kind of cheap, it was like $30, RF remote controlled. It's a ARGB hub controller and a PWM controller as well, except this model doesn't have any sort of like speed control with the remote. It's basically just, you have to get the actual cable and connect it to the motherboard, and it just divides up the fan speed PWM signal from the board to 8 of these. But I was lucky enough that I had that other splitter and I could just run it all off the board natively. It saved me extra wire. Yeah, and this I had in backwards, and I didn't find that out until I was putting the power supply in, and everything else was already put in. That was a pain. Yeah, so, and yeah, it's pretty well packed in there. It's RGB power supply, which is probably a bit ridiculous. You can't really see the light from underneath. The case has these sort of stands. It's very nice, I like it. Higher end China brand case, I think it was about $100 and something, 150 Australian dollars. But the uses fairly thick sheet metal and stuff, and it's quite heavy even when it's empty. That's the back of the case. I don't know if I'll put anything in here, maybe a LCD on the inside or something. But yeah, that's my sort of what I've been up to lately is not much, just building this and messing about with it. The temps are pretty good. Not as good as the previous setup because I had the radiators and stuff for the GPU sort of on the desk. So it's a little bit warmer than what I'd like. Also the radiators from eBay, and it was sold as full copper, but it's not. It's actually got brass fittings on the end, and then inside it's just aluminium. But yeah, in 2 years or whatever, when I replace this system, I won't really care. It's only going to damage the water block nickel plating, that's about it. Oh, that's my new TV too. If you want to see a review on my new TV, let me know down below. It's one of the new Hisense models. It has some really weird quirks. So anyway, if you like these kind of rambly, just what I've been doing videos, let me know. If you want to see more sort of scripted tutorials and stuff, let me know down below. But yeah, it's been a bit quiet lately, so haven't really had much to talk about. So anyway, till next time, see ya.